we asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed, more innovation.
It's going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like one more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future of 5G is here and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Hello and welcome to the Martensville Aly Jenkins Mixed Doubles Memorial, this early draw on a Saturday morning. My name is Marty Thompson. I'm joined by David Wilves. This is the Martensville Curling Club in Martensville, Saskatchewan. This draw is taking place already underway, 2 shots underway. Weagle Epping versus Crough and Raniseth. David, you were just talking there before we just went on air about Weagle and Epping, one of the top teams in this country. Had a difficult time out last night. Just struggled to find a few shots against a really difficult Japanese team in Matsumura and Tanita.
Good morning, Marty. Yeah, it was an interesting little game to watch because both teams are quite strong. Certainly, the Japanese team of Matsumura and Tanita are terrific, and John was throwing a lot of out turns that just didn't finish for him. As I was watching, you could sort of feel a little bit of frustration. They knew what to do and they knew what they needed, but then getting the rock in the right position was tough. And then the Japanese duo basically punished them every time they tried. So they had a little trouble catching up once they lost that lead. But John and Lisa are definitely bonded and working well together out there. So it's hopeful that we can see a rebound today. They're 1-1, and a good win today would help them a lot in terms of moving on in the event.
Meantime, Raniseth Crough is also 1-1. They lost to that Japanese team as well, 9-3 in the second draw yesterday. Had the privilege of calling that game, and yeah, certainly a difficult proposition when that team can throw a lot of big weight and can cause a lot of problems. They just sort of struggled with that. Did rebound in the next draw. Actually, they played back to back, won 7-4 against Taylor out of Saskatchewan. He does nice little come around here from Epping, and that was a great shot. Just shows how much the rocks curl out here, David. It is quite nice, quite conducive to doubles. The fact you could actually make a shot like that and kick it out the other side.
Oh, you're absolutely right. It was nice to see that shot from John. That was an intern, which I think he favors, which is nice to see. But they almost lost it over curling, and they just got by the guard beautifully. And then the weight was perfect to push that red rock back. So now blue is sitting 3, which is very, very nice. Oh, sorry. Are they 2? Are they 3 or 2?
It might be. Let's call it 2.5, David.
Yeah, it's very close.
So
at least they moved it behind the blue in the back, so that's nice.
Exactly. The come around here, Raniseth Crough, and going to be a little bit short on this. It looks like. And
great line and just not quite enough weight.
It's a difficult miss on tolerance there just because, this stagger is not great. They can definitely sink another one in behind those staggered rocks, considering how much this curls. Very much that kind of half pipe, David, where you can just sort of sling it out to the 12 foot and it's just going to come all the way back in. And this could really spell trouble for the team out of Calgary.
Yeah, it's nice when we're watching if we have a team that has one player that sets up room in the house for the target. That way we can see how much ice they're taking. With the 2 delivering from the one end, you can't quite see where he's aiming, but I think we're going out at least into the 12 foot for the target line. So you're right, it is definitely swinging.
Yeah, we can talk a little bit about this as the game goes on, but Weagle and Epping's arrangement there with Weagle being on the broom and Epping calling line behind it's quite a powerful combination in this discipline. Looks like it's maybe sailing a little bit on them, but it will come in quite nice. And that might make that from 2.5 to 3. They make it now 4, I guess.
4, yeah. I think we're flirting with 4 now, which is nice. Oh, that's the one advantage of the heavy shot. It does leave a spot, though, for the red rocks to come in and settle.
Well, final stone here for Crough. Now, this also looks a little down and maybe tight inside considering how much this is curling. You'd hate to see this rock take the same path as his second.
Yeah, I think its path was absolutely perfect. It's just that it over curled because it was a tiny bit light and caught the red rock. Now we have another opportunity for Weagle and Epping to come in. The question is, which side do they want to use?
Yeah, what do you see first thought here, David? I guess coming on the left side of our screen there, if we're looking at the house, just try to come in and get something partially buried behind that blue, I guess?
Sure. I mean, a big factor right now is asking where they leave their rock, what that offers their opponent. They want to obviously get more points, but they also need to be careful not to give them an escape. Right now, Weagle and Epping and their blue rocks are in really, really great shape. It looks like he's throwing the out turn again and just trying to come right around those 2 red rocks. And if he can do that, just maybe cozy up to the rock that's in the button, they would be in really, really super shape. This has got to cut and finish.
I see Weagle just coming off of the broom, realizing you really don't want this deep.
Come on, sit down.
And that's... that could be a pocket considering how much it's curling, and they're seeing that as well. So really difficult draw here for Kaylee Raniseth in her second shot of the game, drawing against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and trying to just sort of sink one in the 4-foot. But this is a good bailout opportunity. If you can get this weight down, you could really escape out of here relatively unscathed.
They really need to make this because the dreaded 6 is looming if they don't manage to get around these guards. So you have to make sure they take enough ice.
Said on the broadcast yesterday, I've scored 6 and I've given up 6, and I can tell you it's a lot of fun on both ends. It's great.
And it's usually something you don't even think about until you're halfway through the end, and all of a sudden, hey, wait a second.
It's like, right. Whoops. Okay. Too late. Final stone here for the rink out of Calgary. The draw in behind those red staggards. This is certainly a wider path, David.
There's not much chance they're going to wreck unless it just skids to a halt.
Trying to get the carve going here just to get over and also to slow it down at the right time. And that is a lovely draw.
Very nice. I think Weagle and Epping are still sitting 2. And now they're having to look at the in-turn side as they bump their blue across and see if they can do something about that rock that just landed, nibbling on that button.
Quite tempting to play that sort of anywhere back of the house weight and try to get some movement on it. I think that's what they're looking at.
Well, it's also
partially buried.
Yeah, there's not much risk in trying. They do have to get around the upper guard there, the high guard, but they did that already once this end with John's first shot, so there's definitely a route there. It's all about the weight, really. Half a rock, maybe 2/3 of a rock.
Yeah, just knowing how much movement we're getting on these rocks. Brand new rocks at the Martensville Curling Club as well, so lots of curl on them, lots of action. This will be quite nice for Lisa Weagle's final stone to try to tap that blue back and maybe score a bundle.
Here she comes. So now they're standing and staring at the ice a little bit, making sure they actually have the exact right line.
Or saying, boy, that's quite overburied. Is this worth it?
Well, yeah.
It's a high guard, though. It is high.
They want to hit what they can see. I think the shot's there. And as I said, I don't think there's a lot of risk. They have 2 now, and there's no other way to get more than this, as far as I can tell. Maybe a draw. I suppose you could just throw the draw.
Precision needed on the final stone here in the first end. Epping switching sides to try to carve this rock over. It might be just a hair up. Can you move it enough to get a piece? and they will skate all the way through. So 2 blue here in the first end. We'll be right back for Martensville.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's Ice Pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
Don't forget your brooms.
Yep, you got it.
Come on up. Well, what do you got? You got 1, you got 2, you got...
Just one more throw, please.
You make moments like these possible.
At the World Mixed Doubles.
Hello and welcome back to Martensville and the Martensville Curling Club for the Aly Jenkins Mixed Doubles Memorial here this morning draw. It is Weagle Epping versus Crough and Raniseth. The team out of Ontario scoring 2 in the first end, and they have first shot here. Weagle up, and the come around on this intern side.
It looks like they're starting in the traditional way, and it's nice actually for Lisa to be able to just throw this plain old shot after the complexity of last end. It's one of the things you love about mixed doubles is it starts over quickly, and you can go back to what you're used to.
Yeah, there's something when you throw the 1 in 5, you just have something you can always just rely on. And then when you miss it, you're like, whoops, guess I can't rely on that. I guess I'm just completely on my own.
Yeah.
But that's a good little intern draw there from Blue. So Kaylee Raniseth looking to follow that one down, attacking the same side.
Yep, and if she can just come right up and freeze to the nose, or even just a hair short of that, that's a pretty nice spot to be.
And you can see Evan just trying to keep this rock out as much as possible. They have lots of room, but as you mentioned, David, getting that sort of corner freeze would be ideal, but they're a few feet short of that. So another chance to come around here for the team without hammer, and a good chance to put some pressure on.
Perfect. Yeah, this is definitely a situation where the rocks that are a little bit slow, a little bit less weight, are definitely over curling on them and causing trouble in terms of managing the line. They need to remember to get enough weight to get them back to the place they need. And I think then they'll behave as expected. So, okay, John, intern.
As we mentioned, both these teams at 1-1 in their pool B to be precise. This is kind of a lopsided event here in Martensville. Now there's 2 groups of 5, 2 groups of 4. So there's a little bit of crossover, if I'm not mistaken, according to the schedule. But Matsumoto Tinita 2-0 rather, in good position here early on.
These 2 are in the same pool, I believe. But there's definitely some crossover games. I was noticing that as I checked some of the other teams in action. They're not necessarily playing teams from their own pool. I guess because, as you said, the numbers in each pool aren't necessarily matched up. So I assume they'll play 3 games or even 4 before they stack them up and compare for the purposes of the playoffs.
So a nice little come around there from John. I think he heard your words of encouragement there.
Yes, come on, let's go.
And we have Evan Crow's chance to come around, and just a little heavy. You can see the frustration there as that's going to come all the way to the back and through. So again, another great opportunity. And this is kind of the beauty of doubles here too, David, is, you know, you get a little bit that repetition. You get the opportunity to throw the same rock again, probably the same side, right? You know, he said he was maybe struggling with that turn yesterday, and now it's here's another great chance to throw it again.
Well, and you and I are both curlers, and we know from experience the frustration of seeing rocks that are a little bit light, so then you overcompensate and throw it a little heavier. So that was a perfect example with Evan there. He just he just fired a little too heavy, and then you could see he sort of looked down and said, I know what, I shouldn't have quite given it that much. But here's John again with his in-turn, and it looks like the weight's nice because Lisa's trying to decide whether to sweep or not. So you always think of it. It's a good sign.
And making sure, again, just to keep this wide, there's little risk, I should say, unless this is maybe a little heavy. Let's see where this ends up. Okay, there we go. And there is like a little bit of a bump. I was just about to say, a commentator's curse, that you want to keep those rocks out in this case, just because you really don't want them to dive across, because there's very little opportunity unless you're super wide to give them that kind of hit and roll in. But this is a pocket, just with the way it hit that blue rock there right down the middle, that potentially Raniseth Crough can attack. Now, are they looking at the run back?
Well, it would probably be in their best interest to do something about the center line guards right now. I find interestingly that maybe you can tell me what your experience is, but a lot of times teams tend to ignore those. They almost treat them like posts, as if they're there and then that's part of the curling sheet and that's the way it goes. But removing them can to do wonders sometimes. So like that. I think that was a bonus getting the blue out, but now it puts John and Lisa in a position where they have to figure out how to protect rather than attack. So, yeah, it's a good spot.
Yeah, I've never heard them described as posts, but that's a very apt analogy for doubles. Yeah. It's a difficult thing to incorporate into your shot calling, essentially, until you need to do the run back. Until you're put in position where attacking something as in a cluster of rocks in the forefoot, which happens often in this discipline. But it really is not part of the it's part of the conversation until you sort of say, all right, we need to do this run back. And also we were just talking about how curly the ice is here in Martensville. Fantastic for doubles, but one sort of drawback to that is that those run backs are difficult. To make a really precise run back when you know how much it's curling, or if you don't really throw the exact weight. Oftentimes in doubles, you don't want to throw like a super peel. You want to have something where you can maybe stick some stones around. So it's kind of that cost benefit analysis that you need to make, especially when looking at making that kind of run back. It usually is a super bailout shot. And yeah, move the posts.
a lot of people that I've worked with have said to me, well, I understand that you can remove the guard, but it costs me a rock to do that. Yeah. And I only have 5. So, I feel like if I really have to be sure I want to spend this rock for that purpose, because usually the rock you throw doesn't end up giving you any offensive strength. The peel rock is just gone. So you have to be sure. But as you mentioned, the run back has become a very good weapon, and people have started to warm to the idea that I can do something with this rock in the center. So it's becoming a definite part of the game, much more than it was initially, I think.
Well, this was a miss, but we'll have to see exactly what they end up doing with it, because that is a shorter run back for this team to make if needed. And you see John and Lisa taking a look and seeing exactly what they want to do with it, and it looks like they're going to guard.
There's not much they can do with that. That would also allow protection. So the red rock is actually now working to help protect those blues. Yes, there's a run back, but there's no direct way to get to the blues right now. So John and Lisa, I think, are wise to think, hey, let's put something in the way. If they can cover that red rock a little bit, maybe half, that's not a bad thing, because then they take away any kind of run back options.
Yeah, red might have to throw that other red guard into the pile, potentially, seeing where this ends up. Because the draw to try to outscore that one at the back four, I know it's difficult for us to see on our screen, but it's that second shot is got quite a nice piece of the button. Final stone here for Lisa Weagle and John Epping here in the second end. They're sitting 2, looking to protect those 2. We've got to move a little bit. It's got to boogie off that red rock. And they might get a little bit of help. Let's see.
Little bump and roll is not a bad thing. There you go. Sit. There you go.
They don't ask how. So.
You can tell I'm a coach. I sit there talking to the rocks as I'm watching them. So
you got to keep yourself busy when you're behind the glass, sitting there by yourself. You know?
Yeah. Well, when you're coaching a team, I mean, it's funny when you're coaching a team, you're really, you're a fan or a hopeful observer for one team more than the other. So you're literally talking to the rocks, trying to make them do what you hope they need to do. So, but positionally, this has worked out very, very nicely again for Weagle and Epping. Put the Calgary team into a tough spot where they have to make a decision about how to what do you call that? Minimize the damage, because this is only one more shot to go.
The only real outcome they're looking at is just nutting a red rock on top of that blue one that's just right on the pin to try to eliminate that to one. Now, not clear exactly what they decided. Again, they have the same setup that Lisa and John have, in that, on hits, someone will throw the hit and then call line from behind. So this is likely what we're seeing here is one of these run backs. Not sure which one.
Yeah, I think they're trying the red angle, a slight angle run back into the blue. The only other option they have is to try and draw down and just sit on top of the blue on the button, but it's not clear whether they can get there and score. So I think they're hopeful that this one is a better chance to actually score.
Final stone here in the second end. This one's got to come over just a little bit. It might get a little bit of action off that red rock. Let's see where this ends up. And it will, again, move past the 4 foot. So another 2-point end for Weagle and Epping. They're up 4-0 after 2. We'll be right back from Martensville.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
Hello and welcome back to Martensville, Saskatchewan, just outside of Saskatoon. The Aly Jenkins Mixed Doubles Memorial. Marty Thompson and David Willis with you. Lisa Weagle, John Epping up 4-0, and a big reason for their scores here thus far, David, has been that crucial draw to the lid and just draw to the red rock that we've seen Lisa Weagle make now 3 times in a row.
Yeah, beautiful shot to start off. It is critical. It doesn't necessarily have to be perfect, but to get it around the guard and into the 4 foot area as shot rock is a great way to start. And she's managed to do that, as you say, beautifully 3 times. So good for Lisa. And it immediately puts some pressure on the opponents to respond.
And, it's coming back all the way to that red rock. You see this one just sort of sailed just in behind. We've always said that, having a rock that's in the top 4, maybe not even shot, is sometimes as valuable, and I would argue more valuable than a rock that's just sort of right at the back, because it's going to force an error out of the other team if you're having to throw a draw into it, when it's curling a ton. Because let's say you're fully buried behind that blue rock top 4, if their draw is ever tight or if they ever come up, they maybe nudge that blue rock a little bit over, and now you can attack the red rock that rolled on the other side, and then you're in control top 4 on both sides of the house. So there's ways that you can sort of be in the top 4 range and still be very much in control, because the rocks you're only ever going to nudge the rocks and doubles back a few feet every time, right? So if you can put it a few feet ahead, odds are you're going to end up pushing that one into scoring position in due time. This one will be a little light from John Epping, and a potential opportunity here for red.
That's right. Yeah, that unfortunately was a little light and it over curled. You can see that pocket that was created with the Raniseth, the Crough rock last time, was now creating a pocket for them to come down to. So we'll have to see how this goes. It's all about weight. It seems, as you see, the ones that are coming up short are over curling, and the ones that are a little heavy are taking their time coming in. And so here we go again with one that looks like it's just a little bit heavier. This is coming in nicely.
That was a great team sweep there. You saw Evan sort of pick it up and little nudge. Certainly a great shape for red here in the 4-foot, David.
Much better than it looked 2 rocks ago. Absolutely. Yeah.
So if you're Lisa Weagle and John Epping, you're looking to protect that right side of the house as we see it here on the left-hand side of the screen, because red has a pretty nice opportunity to sort of nudge that blue rock out of the 4-foot.
Well, this is also a time when a team with a 4-point lead might look at each other and say, "Are we okay just giving up one here? Let's seal this up and say yes, you can have your one, and we'll take the hammer back with a 3-point lead." So the hard part for the red team is they're not only looking to score, but they're looking to score at least 2. This is heavier than last time. Lisa's not even thinking about sweeping.
This could be trouble here.
Has to sit down.
You don't want that. Thereabouts, because that looks pretty juicy on the nose. Yeah, just like that. Now,
Yeah.
it's we were just talking about the post analogy for those guards and how this discipline has really evolved over the years. Something else that's really evolved is, the use of guards and the use of just protecting these kinds of shots. Just throwing up a guard and trying to really focus on giving up one and playing way more defensive from essentially the start of the end. We could talk a little bit about that, I'm sure, David, as I know you're a doubles expert. We'll see where this hit goes here from Evan. Looks a little tight out of his hand.
He wants to hit this. Inside nose is fine, but not too far, because he does want to give. There you go. Okay, it didn't. It worked out beautifully.
That is a great shot from Evan Crough, and now it's trying to find the best way to mitigate some damage here for John Epping and Lisa Weagle. What do you see right now? What's your first instinct?
The first thing I'm asking myself is if there's room to curl right into the top of the button between the rocks that are already in the top of the house. I don't know if that path is there, but if they can, it's either that or they need to throw weight and just try to really just reduce the number of red rocks in the house. It looks like he's throwing weight at this, and he's trying to make a double where he sees the red that's at the top edge of the 4-foot back into the pack and remove at least 2 reds. There you go.
That's some decent weight, and most importantly, you free up that T-line area in the 4-foot. Still one more shot to go. Looks like you'll have a draw on this side, but if they fail to make the draw on one side, David, you might be able to come on the other, right?
That's absolutely right. There's 2 sides usually around the 4-foot, and this one, it looks like there's going to be a choice. It looks like they're staying with the path they know for this end. The outturn has been good to them, and they need to basically keep this in front of the tee line.
Looks like it might be a little up.
Yeah, don't give them a pocket.
Evan Crough with that great hit there and just throwing it a little bit too much. So the draw is available on both sides, but obviously you want to throw into the cover here, David. And
yeah,
nice
or
cat back could look quite nice for blue.
Yeah, I'm actually asking myself if they can hit inside nose of the top red and remove at least 2 and sit underneath the cover, but that's they have to have super confidence in their line on that, because if they don't, then they're better off to just throw a draw. the ice they took seems a little bit tight for a draw, if I'm honest.
Yeah, okay. So maybe a little tap back. Just something little, right? You're just only going to move that red rock you touch a few inches, but it'll be enough for you to cover where that blue rock is. The key would be to ensure that they don't have any kind of like pick out scenario or something on their last. So definitely a crucial shot. Shooting against 3 here is Lisa Weagle. And looking to come around on top of those red rocks. Great opportunity to be a shot as well. And if you meld this on, there's a great opportunity to steal in this third end. They're up 4-0 already. And it does look like a little bit of weight, you're right.
Well, I was originally thinking they can remove at least 1 red, but the more important thing is where do they end up? This looks really, really nice. Little flip. Okay, great shot. And they did remove a red, which is helpful.
And just got that little bit of motion in towards the center line. And now what does Raniseth and Crough see to try to score something?
You're right. I mean, the nice thing about Lisa's shot was that it flipped far enough toward the center that it's now shot rock. If they had been a little bit outside, if red had still been shot, they could simply have drawn down the other side and ignored the blue. But now they have to do something. Going to be tricky to see how they can manage this.
Final stone here in the third end. Kaylee, Raniseth looking down. You never quite like to see a rock above the tee line and buried in this, or not buried, but melded on in this discipline. But we'll see what they're able to do here to try to get their first points on the board here this morning in Martensville.
There's definitely some weight here. So they're simply trying to remove the blue and then see what they've got left to score for themselves. That's not a bad result.
That's a great shot to score 2 for this team from Calgary. Make it 4-2 after 3. We will be right back from Martensville.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Saskatchewan, you know SaskTel because we're everywhere. Because being everywhere keeps us connected to you. With SaskTel sponsorships, we get to be part of your community. We're here with you, and we're here for you. It's easy to get started. All you need to do is apply. SaskTel cares. Always has, always will. To apply for sponsorship, visit sastel.com/sponsorships.
It was like, anyway, but that's where I was introduced to it. And then I've been all over the city after that.
Hello and welcome back to the Aly Jenkins Mixed Doubles Memorial. Marty Thompson and David Wills with you on this Saturday morning. Lisa Weagle and John Epping with a 4-2 lead now over their opponents in Evan Crough and Kaylee. Raniseth after the latter team managed to put up a 2 spot there and a lovely shot from Kaylee. Now here's an opportunity for this Weagle and Epping team to draw on top of the Red Rock after a solid draw here from Kaylee.
Yeah, they had a great end. Again, even though in the end Raniseth and Crough managed to score, John and Lisa managed to keep some pretty good control. The key in this game so far seems to be that one point during the end, one of the teams gives the other one a little bit of a break and gives them a spot to sort of set a rock and cause trouble. And most of the time they've managed to take advantage. The thing here with Lisa and John is that they've got the hammer back. So this is going to be interesting.
This is definitely a bit of a break here for Evan and Kaylee, where you see Weagle just sort of tapping that rock back and ending up back 4. Kaylee called this heavy out of Evan's hand. A little carve might slow this down.
That's nice. right on the nose, and it's still lots of room on the button, so I think the strategy will be just to simply come down and keep throwing rocks that are closer to the pin until there's no more room.
So looking around to the other sheets in action, looks like we're quite a bit farther ahead than the other games that are taking place. Springer up 1-0 over Barber and Heat. Those are two Saskatchewan teams taking on one another. Roning Brennan from Lillehammer, Norway, up 4-1 over Ector and Jocks out of Calgary, Alberta. And then Gamble Kaltoff down 1-0 to a team from Denver in Weldon Franey. That's just with one end by. So a little tick of the guard here opens things up, and in doubles, David, it's sometimes a lost art in just opening up play when you have those rocks behind the forefoot, because you still an opportunity for you to activate these rocks if you're able to access them later.
Yeah, I'm not certain that was the initial idea. It seemed to be that they were trying to get by the guard, but you're right. It's as soon as you move the guard and split things open, it totally changes the perspective of what's still in the house. It looks as if they're drawing straight down into the forefoot anyway, as if there was a guard, in the hopes that they'll freeze in a position that will be hard to remove. And it looks like they have succeeded.
That is great sweep.
Lovely shot. Yeah, and well managed. There is still a pocket. Technically, so there's a spot that they can sit if they want, but it's also a point where you start thinking about throwing some weight and moving some of the granite. The team that is sitting 1 and 2 is without hammer, so you have to start thinking about how can you set this up so that when you're throwing your hammer shot, you have a chance for at least 2.
So here comes John Epping trying to come into the bundle here. And it's tough with those red-blue combos, but maybe you could get something that looks a little nice. This has a lot of weight on it, doesn't it?
I'm trying to decide what the goal is based on the weight. I think
just a little hit and roll, I think.
Yeah.
And it's going to come just a smidge too far.
But it unlocks a few things, which is nice. That back blue is now gone, and it was a handy rock for the Reds. Now it's gone, so it'll be interesting to see. It looks like they're just going to continue to try and pile rocks into the center.
This will be the final stone for Evan Crough in the end. Good chance to throw just kind of like a little soft waiter. Yeah, exactly like that, and just get crucially above the tee line. That's really the money shot in this discipline, is just having anything that can be above that area. Rocks just seem to congregate at the back for many reasons, obviously due to the set rock, but see if they can come down. Maybe not a ton of weight on this, David, but just enough to move that blue and just come across.
Tap the blue back and sit right basically on the pin. Looks like they've got the line right. Is it enough weight? Yeah, I think it looks pretty nice.
And a lovely roll over to stay at 3. Is there a shape for Lisa Weagle and John Epping to remove some of these red rocks?
I think so. A nose hit on the top red with weight should remove 2. And then obviously hopefully present an opportunity when they get to their final shot. So with 3 rocks left and 2 of them are yours, it's a little bit of weight could help.
John Epping's final stone here in this 4th end. Chance to move some red granite around and change the momentum of this end for the team with hammer.
Line looks really nice here. Right on the nose, and took 2 reds out. So now it looks like red's lying 1, but there's an awful lot of possibilities here, so they have to be careful. If they hit the blue and remove the Weagle Epping stone, that's fine, but they may end up leaving John and Lisa a chance to make a play on the red in the back of the button and score an extra point. So that was a very, very effective shot for John.
Sometimes all you need in doubles is just a little bit of spacing. just to sort of eye up these different opportunities. You can see on the left-hand side of your screen now, if, for example, if Weagle Epping was up now, they would have a chance to just either run that red straight back or pick it out. There's going to be these options here, and just that little bit of spacing can allow you to actually see those hits that are necessary for you to score those big points.
Well, here comes Kaylee, her final shot of the end, and I think they know they have to get rid of that blue at the top of the 4-foot. The question is, where is the shooter going to end up?
Final stone here for Raniseth Crough and the Red Rocks in the 4th end. Calling likely a little tight. It does look like it's curling quite a bit. Can Evan hold this? He's quite the sweeper, as you can see.
Doing a great job.
Don't want this to over curl.
Sadly, it did. Giving John and Lisa a very big opportunity.
So you could even hit that straight back, maybe?
I think a nose hit scores 3. I don't think if you remove that rock, I don't think you can hit it sideways and still keep your shooter as a point scoring rock. The only way to get 3 is to run it straight back. Question is, they are going to go for it. You really need to make sure that you don't accidentally bump it left or right and take out run it into your own blue.
Yeah.
That will leave red scoring. Okay. These are why they get paid the big bucks.
It's still trying to find a shot for 4, and I don't see one yet, so I'm going to just shut up. Final stone here in the 4th end here, 4-2. Weagle and Epping with the final stone, and a great opportunity to put up 2-3 points here. Let's see what they end up with if they make this shot. They take a pretty commanding lead here heading into the break.
Yeah, I love the way you think on the idea of 4, but I just don't think there is a shot. There are some curlers in the world who would definitely make it. Looks like the line is really good here.
Never in doubt, you want a little roll to the inside, and that might be just enough movement to ensure that they do have 3. And 3 it is for Lisa Weagle and John Epping here in the 4th end. Make it 7-2 after 4. We'll be right back from Martensville.
Lisa's having a very good game.
On behalf of the volunteer board, the support team, and all the families who will be helped by this year's Sandra Schmirler Foundation Telethon, thank you for being a part of this historic moment. $1,126,014, a new record, exceeding our goal, and most importantly, countless families from St. John's to Victoria to Yellowknife and babies in over 100 hospitals in between will be impacted by your generosity. And we couldn't do it without the amazing partnerships we have with Curling Canada, TSN, and Net2Phone Canada. They connect you, our generous supporters, with so many of the Scotties participants and our volunteers on Telethon Day. A special thank you to Jocelyn and Brett for sharing little Luke Gallant's stories, and all of the families across this great country who shared stories of how Sandra's legacy has helped their little ones grow up and become champions. In each of the last 3 years, because of generous supporters like you, the Sandra Schmirler Foundation has been able to give back $1 million to help babies in every province and territory. And this year's telethon will ensure we can continue that incredible momentum. Thank you for helping champions start small.
Thank you, Canada!
And welcome back to Martensville for the Aly Jenkins Mixed Doubles Memorial. Lisa Weagle and John Epping putting up that 3-point end, putting the number up on the scoreboard as we can see to make that 7-2. And a great start here in the first half for this team from Ontario. Meantime, the team from Calgary again facing down. I know we just talked about it in the break there briefly, David, but forcing down another fantastic shot from Lisa Weagle. She has not missed a single one of these draws, and her last shot's been fantastic as well.
Yeah, she's really impressed with the quality of her shots today, and it really helps. It seems funny to see one player playing the first and last shot, and they can often be very, very different kinds of shots, but they're so critical, especially the beginning of the end. It changes the entire basically thinking strategy process that the teams have, whether or not those rocks get started in the right place. Now, this rock that is followed, the lovely rock that Kaylee just threw, is very, very nice as well. So now we have to get into a situation where we're trying to jiggle things and make it so that things are not all locked up in the center. And the Weagle and Epping team do not have the option to do anything about that centerline guard yet, in case they were thinking that way, because in mixed doubles, you cannot remove things from play until the second rock of the team with hammer. So this is an interesting situation. They have to come down and draw into the pile and hopefully wedge things in a way that will produce an advantage.
And it's wide, but it should come in here quite nice.
Mm-hmm.
Just be just on the left-hand side of the red rock from our view on the right-hand side. And
that's a terrific shot.
Yeah, great little shape there.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you can see just how much it's going to curl. They're going to try to attack it on that side. Slightly riskier, but, you have to take this opportunity if you are Raniseth and Crough here down 7-2 after 4.
Mm-hmm. Well, they have the option now. I mean, it's their choice about how to manage this, but the guard can go. It looks like they're just continuing to add to the pile in the 4-foot. If they come down and tap their own rock, it's not a bad thing, but they need to just remember that every time they throw another rock in the pile, they block things a little bit. This is over curling, coming right across the face of the guard. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's difficult. Like I said, trying to manage a shot like that where, your instinct when you're in doubles to throw those kind of draws, when you're just kind of throwing into the pile, take a little bit extra ice. Just make sure that it's out there.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, they did have to cheat a bit to get in there, and maybe that was just a line adjustment that wasn't correctly made. But otherwise, and this is a great example of it, specifically Lisa's draws, but John's as well, is like just take a little bit extra ice. If you end up, as you see where that blue rock is that John just threw, if you end up a little bit wide, as long as you're not like a foot wide where they can have a hit and roll, it's usually going to be advantageous for your team. What's not advantageous is, potentially if you have the hammer, you like where the guard is wrecking on the guard or, over curling in this instance.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of my curling colleagues at my club used to make the comment that the ice today is really weight sensitive, where if you throw a weight that's a little down, it really curls more than you expected. This is a situation. John and Lisa they don't have shot rock. Red is shot right now, yet they're trying to guard throw rocks that are basically getting in the way, so that red can only get one. In a situation where you're up 7-2, giving up 1 point and taking the hammer back is not a bad thing. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be interesting to see that one over curled. So red, Raniseth and Crough are going to have a chance to try the same shot essentially that they did last time. And now he's overcompensated. He threw it light last time, and he's overcompensated. And now he's throwing a sort of a back 8 weight. They are still shot. However, they're not two, and they have that rock that has gone a little bit too far really won't come into play very much for them. I suspect John and Lisa will try the same thing they just tried, where they're going to just throw something into the top of the house that will get in the way and prevent the red team from getting any more points.
Yeah, you mentioned the weight sensitive piece there, David. It also goes for rocks that are that kind of that back 8, back 12, weight, and some errors that even, my team will make, but I'll see other teams make it too, is just like really anticipating how straight some of those shots really can be. They can be awfully straight. And it's just something to watch for and something to really consider, especially in doubles where you end up only throwing 1 or 2 of those shots all game. But, you really have to be dialed and make sure that you can read or anticipate that if it does come to play. So this is going to be a really nice set here if they can just, meld right on there. Potential to kick that Red Rock sideways potentially later. What does Raniseth Crough do here?
Well, the problem is that if it were blue throwing the next shot, I would agree with you. But right now, if red has their shot, they come down and come in off the inside of the blue that they just put there. They have the potential to score more than one. So John's rock is actually, I think if you asked him, he'd agree that it was heavy. He would like to have been higher up in the house, maybe in the 8-foot. Otherwise, if he's going to come that far back, he might as well throw it harder and just remove one of the reds. It's going to be interesting. There's a pocket there that's got potential for the team from Calgary. So let's just see how they do here. They have to be careful to throw the right weight.
Yeah, they do. Right, Raniseth Crough. This is Evan's final stone here in the 5th end. Should note this game is just cruising by. Appreciate the pace. It is doubles after all, but this is it's been a pretty quick game, especially compared to the other sheets here in Martensville. We'll give you an update on them shortly.
All right. So they're not throwing a lot of weight at this. The idea is to come down and basically make sure that it's tightly bonded to the other red rock in the 4-foot. Is he going to get by the guard? Oh, just ticked.
And it nudges that blue rock back slightly. Changes the shape a little bit, but that's certainly a disappointing outcome for this team out of Calgary. You could have almost cheated a little bit on the inside too and made it the other way, but yeah, that's too bad. That's too bad.
Just the slightest tick changed the line of that rock. So they're just going to throw, I think they're just going to throw a draw in. I don't think they're even going to try to remove red. I mean, part of me is thinking, oh, well, now you can come down and get rid of 2 reds and sit. I think, though, that they're probably inclined to just throw something right down into the pocket and totally limit the red team to 1. I think unless they can throw a miraculous draw the other way, I think that will end up being the strategy here.
And good game management and doubles too. You know, you limit this team to 1. You have the hammer. You can play your power play, and you can ensure you get a couple more. And you know, it's all part of the game management strategy when you have that other option that you can use later into the game to just nullify the other team.
In the second half of a mixed doubles game, you start thinking about who has hammer, who's going to have hammer, and when will the power play be used. I always say, you know, if you can arrive at the 8th end with hammer, a lead, and a power play still going on, you're in really good shape. And John and Lisa are probably thinking now about how and when to take advantage of their power play for sure.
And that is some great movement.
Beautiful shot.
Fully surrounded from these red rocks. Not a ton to do for Raniseth Crough. Yeah, maybe a draw to practice on the draw weight. I don't know. It's maybe possible. You never know. But again, as you mentioned with the power play too, David, it's funny how, you know, it's called a power play, but its best use is in a defensive situation. You know, its best use is kind of not power per se. It's more just to sort of stifle the other team and make sure that you can just keep the middle open and ensure that you have a good opportunity to, you know, kill the game and to a certain aspect.
Well, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. The interesting thing about mixed doubles, I mean, I've been wildly passionate about this version of curling for many years, and it's been interesting to see how things have evolved during the time that it's become more and more competitive, more and more popular. Now it's an Olympic sport, and certain parts of the game where originally, for example, as I mentioned earlier, the center line guard was a post, and now it's turned into a potential weapon. And the power play was originally seen as an offensive weapon where you put it in play because you want to, you know, score 6 or something like that. And now it's more about, let's use it when the other team's back is against the wall, just to really sort of twist the knife and show them that there's just no hope. You know, take away any of their. Look at this shot.
Come on. Almost got it.
That is a heck of an effort.
That was not far off at all. A great attempt from Kaylee there. Raniseth Crough score 1 in the 5th to make that 7-3. We'll be back with the 6th end after this.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardlines Ice Band has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
Don't forget the brooms.
Yep, you got it.
Come on. Okay, well, what do you got? You got 1, you got 2, you got...
Just one more throw, please.
You make moments like these possible.
You're going to score with your power play. I mean, it used to be set up. No, leave it.
Hello and welcome back to Martensville here. Marty Thompson and David Wills with you. Lisa Weagle and Raniseth Crough. That's 7-3 heading into the 6th end. We were just talking about the power play, and you mentioned the tick rule as well. I know this isn't a power play end, but you know, you're just saying that the tick off that guard that you have in the corner, you can remove your own shot because you can always just throw it through, but you can't remove any of the set rocks in play. So ticking that guard over, ticking it into the coffin corner, as some folks call it, is, you know, it really does just nullify the entire end as well, right?
I mean, you cannot remove any of the rocks that are already in play or in position, but you're right, your shooter is allowed to roll out, so you can move that rock, that guard, almost anywhere, and there's nothing wrong with moving it almost straight sideways so that it becomes like a center line guard or a top 12 rock. It can go all the way to, let's say, the button, and then nobody can remove it, so it becomes a distraction in a different position. It's not an easy shot at first. I do see this level of curling in these events. They definitely are very good at making that shot, but it's not automatic. You have to manage the ice and the shot, and you're out on ice that hasn't really been used much during the game. So it can be quite a challenging shot, but it's worth giving a try, and it's worth practicing when you're a mixed doubles player for sure.
An issue we've seen, and actually, in fact, we just saw it yesterday with Matsumura and Tanita, is throwing just a little bit too much weight. And in that case, they were really just trying to throw it to the back of the house, and they ended up obviously sending it straight through. So they got a pretty good chunk of it. It's difficult, right? Where if you're certainly chasing, moving it to the center line guard with a back 12 weight is easy. But if you're trying to really do that expert shot and send it to the back, you do need to throw a little bit of weight, and that's where it gets kind of tricky. John Epping looks like he's going to be just clearing out this guard in the front. They do have the hammer. Oh, that's a nice little double, eh? We'll take that. No problem. Rolls the guard over to the corner, and they're looking pretty good right now.
That was a happy little bonus, but John is throwing the rock really well today. There's a lot of confidence. I don't know if John sort of thinks about this, but I notice that when he is in a game where he's really feeling comfortable and confident with the shots that he's playing, he looks that way when he's coming out of the hack. As he's coming down the ice at you, he has this amazing sort of twinkle in his eye, and his shoulders are up and square, and he's really feeling it. That rock was a great example. He threw such a nice shot there, and the result speaks for itself.
I'll ask him when we play him in Leaside's open skins league in a couple weeks. I'll just walk up to him and try to get him off his game, because we'd really like a win in that league. We started well, but you know, wouldn't mind a couple big skins in that one for sure.
Oh, it's always fun when you see people sort of in the zone, watching them throw and play with such confidence. So this is a nice situation right now.
Even if it's in Monday Night Skins, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I really hope that you can take some skins. It's nice when you're playing against a team with a lot of power and you give them a really good run.
All right. Well, there's a good opportunity to attack this setup here for John Epping. You see the spacing of that red rock rather at the back, and then also at the front. There's some opportunities here for sure to jiggle some stuff around and put blue into a pretty good position to ice this game.
Mm-hmm. The idea here is going to be to move that red off the top of the forefoot and then sit there. It's not curling. It needs to finish a little bit for him. There we go. Very nice.
Got that little bit of movement. So what do you see here for Raniseth Crough? They are second shot, but there's not a lot of nice options.
No, I mean, I think they have to do something about those two rocks in the top of the forefoot. If you find the right angle, you may be able to remove them both and keep your red somewhere in the house. But if they just start playing a game where they're trying to draw in, say, draw to the button, then they leave Weagle and Epping a chance to just run their blues back into whatever's sitting there. So that's not really a solution that's going to work. Looks like that's what they're doing. They're trying just to outdraw. And if this tucks in nicely to the button, it's heavy.
And the weight had to be just right, and it will send that red rock back to the back 12.
Mm-hmm. See, that leaves John and Lisa with the chance to just knock that blue pair right on the nose, and you remove the red, and they'll be sitting 4 in a pretty much in a straight line.
It's not. We'll see where this. Yeah, we'll see where this kind of ends up. Sorry, I was just saying, like, if knock those blue backs, there is always an attempt to have a bailout draw, which is another common term in doubles to try to meld something on here at the last shot for Raniseth Crough. But
they had
it's got to look nice at the end.
They had that famous stop and think for a second after the initial shot call seems obvious, and then about a third of the way down the ice, they stop and say, "Hey, wait a minute," and they sort of both of them turned back and looked to think, "Okay, wait a second, is this really what we want to do?" You have to be careful in mixed doubles. Sometimes everything seems obvious, and then you realize, "Oh no, you know what? This looks looking like an excellent shot yet again. Well done."
Fantastic. Great shape on this as well. Raniseth Crough having to draw into this little pile here. And is there something that is overly nice? I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, potentially. What do you see?
I think they need to consider the idea, well, this is their last shot, so they need to do something where they will remove at least 2 of the blues, because what they're really trying to guard against is a massive score. If they try to get cute with a shot and, let's say, draw in to try and score or be close to scoring, and then they leave themselves vulnerable to a hit from blue, then they could end up giving up 5, and I have a feeling then the handshakes will happen. So they have to hit some blues. Do you think there's a triple? I don't know. I mean, a nose hit.
There's always a triple.
Just off nose on the top of the forefoot blue rock. The red stays, and at least 2 blues will go, maybe 3. There's no quadruple though. No quadruple.
Yeah. I've been known to play crokinole with some friends, and it's now become a joke that I always just say triple's there, no matter what. Yeah. Triple is always there. Final stone here for Raniseth Crough in this 6th end, a chance to move some blue granite, but most importantly, keep that red stone somewhere that's useful, at least to mitigate this score. What do we got?
1, 2, and so it's still 2 blues.
It looks like it just didn't roll enough.
Yeah, not quite. So just a straight draw for 3.
Yeah.
Good try.
Difficult position to be put in there for this team out of Calgary, but
No, I think I would have tried the same shot, but I would have keyed on the other blue rock, the one that's still sitting that didn't really get touched, because that would mean the shooter would stay as a counter. Right now, the shooter that they just threw is sadly not counting. That would have made a little bit of a difference. It would have forced John and Lisa to hit it to try and increase their score.
Final stone in the sixth end here for Weagle and Epping. Just a reminder, you can find games here from Martensville on Curling Zone's YouTube channel, so be sure to check that on for more games later today. See a few wrapping up here on the sheet next to us. Here comes Epping with the sweep down, and you can see the team already sort of waving away their Raniseth Crough to call this game at 10-3. Final score here for the team from Ontario. David, final thoughts on this game? It was really a masterclass from Lisa Weagle on those draws. It just shows how much making those shots can really help a team throughout a game.
Totally agree. I think that they played with an amazing level of confidence. Not only did they get opportunities, but they took advantage of them. And I think rebounding after a little bit of frustration last night and having a game like this sets them up really well for their remaining games in the event. So congratulations to John and Lisa for a great game, and to Kaylee and Evan for a good battle. And we'll look forward to seeing them both on the ice again.
Raniseth and Crough drop to 1-2 here in Martensville, and Lisa Weagle and John Epping go up to 2-1. Signing off here from Martensville. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the games.
Take care.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
SaskTel Be Kind Online wants to stop cyberbullying. Want in on the action? We award up to $1,000 for youth initiatives that help spread kindness and prevent bullying. What great idea do you have to help stop bullying? SaskTel can help. Go to BeKindOnline.com and apply for a grant today. Together, we can make a difference.